Trusting God is such a big deal, and it's really hard for everybody at times. Not because God isn't trustworthy, but because of our own broken trust issues, people who were not trustworthy from our past. And it's really hard to believe that God is somehow different than that. But I want to open up a verse for you today that I think is really going to encourage you and help you to see how God is with you in this journey to be able to trust Him more and more. So the verse I want to share with you is one that many people know. It's Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6, that says this. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight." Now, I want to pull that verse apart a little bit because if we look at that initially and we say, well, the Bible says to trust in the Lord with all my heart. Well, I'm not trusting the Lord with all my heart, so what's my problem? We tend to turn it right back around. We can guilt ourselves. We can say, what's wrong with me? And I want to tell you, the Lord is in this verse so much more than it might appear initially. So let's look at this verse a little bit at a time and see how God is in this, okay? So the first one is trust in the Lord with all your heart. This is not something that is on you where you have to be thinking, do I trust God with all my heart, 90%, 70%? Yeah, I guess that won't do because it's supposed to be all. No, that's actually not what this is saying. It's saying that we trust in God with a whole heart, with all of your heart intact, a whole heart. Now, that is something that all of us have broken places, broken pieces of our hearts based on things that have happened in our lives. Well, how then can we trust God with a whole heart? Well, this is actually you and I taking to God the brokenness of our heart and saying, God, I need you to heal the places in my heart where there have been great breaches of trust from other people in my past. And God's going to help you to do this. But this is what this verse is saying is that we are letting God into the process of helping to heal our hearts so that with that healed whole heart, now we can trust Him more completely. Think about it this way. If your heart is not whole, how can you trust God? There are places of your heart that are unable to, and God is actually not upset at you for that. He's not scolding you for that. He's saying, hey, would you let me help you? Because I love you. I know actually what's going on in your heart. I know what's happened to you. I would love to help you to heal. All right. The next part of the verse says, and lean not on your own understanding. So what this is saying is that the way we perceive things is often not the way that God does. And this is another reason why it's so hard to trust God, because in our perception of things, something is not working out the way we think it should. And I want to tell you, God's perspective is so much bigger, grander, better in the long run in what He is seeing, especially about your heart. What He's doing in your heart is such a big deal to Him. And so He is lovingly helping you through life in ways that you can't even imagine. But when we just look at one incident and we're thinking, this is not working out the way that I think it should, that becomes really hard because we're looking at it with our perspective. I love this phrase, and I think it's so true. Whenever something does not look good, whenever something isn't good, when you're looking at it and you say, this is not right, this is not good, God is not finished yet. There's something so much bigger about his plans, his ways, that go so much beyond our little, point of view when we're looking at one thing. Now, you might be thinking something big. It could be like, well, God, where were you when my house burned down? When my child died? I know. There are tragic things that happen. And this is why it's so hard to trust. And this is where I want to say, the story's not over yet. God's not done yet. If it doesn't look good yet, the story's not done. And you might be thinking, well, you just mentioned a child dying. How could the story change? Because this life is not the fullness of the story. This life on earth. Here, there is more to the story. There is more coming. God is kinder, better than you could imagine. If you had a million years to try to imagine the kindest version of God you could, it wouldn't be good enough. So this is also why it's hard to trust when we're leaning into our own perception of things. In all your ways, acknowledge him is the next phrase. In everything you do it in relationship, deep relationship with this kind God. That's what that word knowing, in all your ways acknowledge. There's knowing in that word. And to know God is to experience and encounter God. Not your version or your thoughts of God, but who God really is. So this is why knowing God is such a journey. It's a lifelong journey. And the more we actually know the true heart of God, the kind heart, the fatherly heart, the tender heart, the compassionate heart, the merciful heart, the more we start to see what God sees. We believe God and his heart for us, and we trust him even when things in the moment don't look good. And it says if we will do these things, he's going to make our path straight. Actually, a more literal translation would be he's going to bring us through the best, straightest path to the places he is taking us. So let me put all that together for you one last time. Trust in the Lord with a whole heart as he helps heal your heart. And don't trust in your own perception of things. In everything you do, acknowledge him. Know he is right there with you in his love, in his tenderness. And as you do these things, as you live life this way, he's going to line up your path in the best way possible. This is the promise we have. Trusting is not about you working it up. It's not about you trying harder. It's not about you beating yourself up. It is about asking God for help. Lord, help heal my heart and help me see who you really are. Because that Father, who you really are, is entirely trustworthy. I bless you. I bless you. I bless you on this journey of life. And I just say to you, keep going. You're doing better than you think you are, and God is right here to help you.